This is an update of a study that was presented and published last year with a drug called Nivolumab, which blocks the PD-1 receptor on lymphocytes. And the basic message here is that we are reporting survival for the first time in patients with previously treated melanoma that received this drug. The median survival was 16.8 months, which compares favorably to other agents. The response rate in 107 patients, objective response rate was 31%, which is a high number for previously treated patients. Median duration of response was nearly 2 years, also a very high number. The responses occurred rapidly in most patients, and patients could continue to respond even after the drug was stopped. For the most part, this is really a very well tolerated drug. It's one of the best tolerated drugs I've given in the clinic. Overall, I think the rate of grade 3 and 4 adverse events was 14%. 5% of patients had these select adverse events that are related to the immune mechanism of action of this drug, but only 6% of patients actually discontinued drug due to toxicity. The one event that caused some concern is pneumonitis, which was seen across the different diseases. There were no deaths in the melanoma patients, but in the 302 patients that Suzanne presented, there were 3 deaths from pneumonitis. Now, there have been no new pneumonitis-related deaths since the report from last year, and that suggests that with more careful detection, more awareness of this, and better management algorithms, that we can catch this adverse event early and treat it with steroids. So overall, this is really a very well-tolerated agent, and with the additional year of follow-up, we didn't see any increase in adverse events. So there doesn't appear to be much of a cumulative effect of giving this drug over longer periods of time. There's another group of patients, about 11%, that either had prolonged stable disease, which could or could not reflect the natural history of disease, but we believe in these patients actually reflected an activity of the drug. And then there were another 4 patients that had what are called unconventional responses because they either had new lesions or a little bit of growth before their disease started to shrink. So under conventional criteria, they would have been called progressive disease. But in fact, they grew and then they started to shrink. So when you conclude the prolonged stable disease and these unconventional responses, there were another about 11% of patients added to the 31% that had evidence of clinical activity. So we don't know what that means, but we think that will be reflected ultimately in a survival curve in a phase 3 trial.